Hi friends, next is Module B Business Mathematics. It consists of Units 12 to 19, Time Value of Money, Sampling Method, Correlation, Regression, Time Series, Estimation, Bond Investment, Linear Programming, Simulation. All these chapters are very important. First chapter is Unit 12, Time Value of Money. Here I will include both textbook and the notes prepared by me because of many friends asking personally they want notes more. That's why I am combining both. Somebody do not have textbooks, so I am using both. Friends, if you find this video helpful, please subscribe and share. Money has time value stems from the concept that value of money gets eroded by due to inflation as time passes by. Due to inflation, value of money or currency depreciates or erodes over a period of time, and this happens due to inflation. We know that the value of money will be less. A 10 rupee note will be less valued after a year if we compare with its value now. The greater the inflation, greater the erosion in the value. Discounting is a process by which a cash flow which is expected to occur in future, at a future date some cash flow is expected to occur and it is converted to the present value. Compounding is a process by which a cash flow today is converted into expected future value. So we have to understand discounting and compounding. Discounting is future value converted to present value, whereas compounding, the present cash flow is converted to an expected future value. Now calculation of present value. Present value is calculated as PV equal to discount factor into C1. Discount factor here is 1 by 1 plus R, where R is the rate of interest. We all know that I equal to PNR. If R is equal, if N equal to 1, we get I equal to P into R. The same equation is applied here. Interest equal to present value into I by 100. I percentage of PV. Therefore, interest equal to PV into R, where R equal to I by 100. So cash flow C1 at the end of period 1, first cash flow equal to PV plus present value plus this R into PV, first interest rate. So PV into 1 plus R. Therefore present value is first cash flow by 1 plus R. So C1 is the cash flow for period 1. So if we for the second period we can calculate cash flow as C2 equal to C1 plus INT2, where INT2 is C1 into R. So we will get Cn as PV into 1 plus R into 1 plus R. For third period we have to multiply again by 1 plus R, that is we get Cn equal to present value into 1 plus R all raised to n. Just remember this equation. Here one question is given. Present value is rupees 10,000. Interest rate is 12% per annum. Interest is compounded on quarterly basis. What will be the cash flow at the end of first year? So we are compounding it quarterly, that is 4 quarters, and interest rate per quarter is 12 by 4, that is 3%. Therefore, we use equation C4, that is for 4 quarters, C4 present value into 1 plus R by 100. R is interest rate, that is 3 by 100. That is P into 1 plus 0.03 by 100 all raised to 4. That is 10,000 into 1.03 all raised to 4 is 11255. Next question, cash flow at the end of 1 year is 10,000, discount rate is 8%, quarterly rust. What is the present value? So some present value discounted at the end of 1 year gives 10,000. So we can calculate with the same equation, C for Cn equal to P present value into 1 plus R always to n. Here we can use present value equal to Zn by 1 plus R always to n, that is present value is cash flow into 1 by 1 plus R, where 1 by 1 plus R is the discount rate. So discount rate for 4 quarters is 1 by 1 plus R whole raised to 4. That is used here, 10,000 by 1.02 whole raised to 4. We get this 2% by dividing 8 with 4 because it's for quarterly rust. For example, if we consider, this is an important example, if we consider investment of 4 lakh today and someone says its estimated value will be 5 lakh next year, in a year, then we can consider investing this 4 lakh in some PPF which has 8% interest rate. So we can use the equation C by 1 plus R, where 1 plus R is the discount, R is 1 by 1 plus R is discount rate, 8% is the interest rate. So we can multiply 5 lakh by 1 by 1, 5 lakh into 1 by 1 plus 0.08, which gives 4,62,963. That means this much amount has to be invested with 8% per annum to get 5 lakh after 1 year. But in investing in this real estate, we just need 4 lakh to get 5 lakh next year. So real estate investment is better option. So the equation present value equal to discount factor into C1, where discount factor is 1 by 1 plus R. Next is net present value. We can have cash flows at different as payouts and payments at different times, and total of all present values of these payouts and payments gives us net present value. That is, net present value is NPV equal to PV1, PV2, PV3, etc., PVN. Here, for example, it is given today a payout is rupees 10,000. That is, payout is given with a negative sign and payments are given with a positive sign, because payments coming inside, payout is going outside. So we have given someone 10,000. So its value is minus 10,000. After 1 year, some payment came inside as rupees 6,500. After 2 years, some amount 9,000 came inside. After 2 years again 1,000 came. So our discounting rate is 10%. These are after 2 years value. So we have to find the present value after discounting with the 10%, and this is compounded annually. So present value of each cash flow, present value of 10,000 today is 10,000 is. So because of this is a payout, it is minus 10,000. PV2 equal to this future value is 6,500. 6,500 by 1 plus R into 1 by 1 plus R. That is, here 10%, 1 plus R is 0.1. So we get 6,500 into 1.1 is 5,909. Similarly, PV3, it is 9,000. 9,000 to be discounted with 1.1. 9,000 by 1.1 whole square, because it's for 2 years. That is, here we have to use the equation 9,000 into 1 by 1 plus R the whole square. Here 1,000 into, it's a payout, so minus value, minus 1,000 into 1 by 1 plus R the whole square. 1 by 1 plus, here 1 plus R is 1.1 whole square, 1.1 square is 1.21. So we get this value. So we have to add all these present values to get net present value of that company, that is 2521. Discount rate is an important factor in finding the present value of a present value for some investors. They have targeted rate of return. So if their desired rate of return, if used as discount rate, would provide direct comparison with the profitability of the project. So if the rate of return they want and the actual discount rate, if they are used, if they are compared, then we can know whether the project is profitable or not. Then we can tell whether we have to accept the project or not, that future project or not. When desired rate is used as discount rate, if NPV, net present value, is greater than 0, it gives signal that the project may be accepted. If NPV less than 0, its project should be rejected. The situation NPV equal to 0 indicates neutral or indifferent decision. So if someone wants to take over some company's projects, if we can take, it's a future project, so we have to take the decision whether to accept or not. So we can just check this net present value. If net present value is greater than 0, we can accept the project. The project will be profitable. If net present value is less than 0, the project should not be accepted. And if equal to 0 indicates neutral or indifferent, it can be profitable or cannot be profitable. So better to accept NPV greater than 0 projects only. Opportunity cost. So if we have some money, for example 1 lakh, if we have to we can invest in many options. So we usually invest in the options which is more profitable. So this is known as opportunity cost. So if we had invested in less profitable project, we would have attained loss. So return in risk-free investments such as banks, FD or government securities is opportunity cost. If you are getting similar returns from some riskful projects, it is better to invest in risk-free projects like FD of banks, etc. So this is known as opportunity cost. We have two decision rules. Net present value rule, as I said, accept investment that have positive net present values only. Rate of return rule, accept investment that offer rate of return in excess of their opportunity cost of capital. So which project you get maximum benefit, you have to accept that. That is rate of return rule. That relies on opportunity cost. And whereas NPV, if NPV greater than 0, accept that project. Discounting or compounding a cash flow. Discounting a cash flow converts it into present value and enables the user to do several things. First one, cash flows are converted into present value. Then they can be aggregated and compared. Second, if present values are estimated correctly, the user should be indifferent between future cash flow and present value of the cash flow. So discounting compounding helps us to find the value of a future cash flow in its and value of a present cash flow. That is, if we know future value, we can discount it and find present value. If we know present value, we can compound it and find future value. That's all. So compounding a cash flow, current cash flows can be moved into future, as future value is current cash flow into 1 plus R all raised to n. Where CF is a current cash flow, R is a discount rate and N is the number of periods. Another important thing is effective interest rate. This is a true rate of interest taking into account the compounding effects of more frequent interest payments. Effective interest rate is 1 plus R by N whole raised to N minus 1. Where N is the number of compounding periods. For quarterly, N equal to 4, monthly, N equal to 12. And R is the annual rate of interest. So if we put annual rate of interest here, and if it is quarterly or accordingly, if it is monthly, if we put 4 or 12 here, we will get the effective rate of interest. For example, 10% annual interest rates, that is here 10%, and if it is semi-annual compounding, that is so 0.1 divided by 2, that is 1 plus 10% divided by N equal to 2 whole raised to period equal to N minus 1 gives 1.05 the whole square minus 1 equal to 10.25%. So the effective rate of interest is 10.25%. This question is directly asked in the examination. What is the effective rate of interest? After giving the rate of interest annually or quarterly or monthly. So we can use this equation, very simple equation it is. Opportunity cost is return from risk-free investment. Real cash flow is nominal cash flow by 1 plus inflation rate. Now we can see the equation for EMI, equated monthly installment. EMI equal to P into R into 1 plus R by 1 plus R whole raised to n minus 1. So we have to remember this equation. This is also directly asked to calculate the equated monthly installment if principal rate of interest is given. Principal and rate of interest is given. So someone takes a loan of some P lakhs, that is some 10 lakhs, and its rate of interest is something. So we can find the equated monthly installment from this equation. And compound interest is P, we all know P into 1 plus R by N whole raised to NT. Next is annuity. Annuity is the constant cash flow that occurs at regular intervals. That is, for time period T1, this A amount came in, 2 A same amount came, 3 for time period 3 same amount came, time period 4, and the intervals are also same. Then it is annuity. And this is beginning of each period. Here annuity comes at the beginning of each. For example, it's month 1, month 2, month 3 and month 4. If it comes on the first day of every month, it is known as BOP, beginning of each period. It comes at the end, that is 30 or 31st, it's known as EOD. So we can find the present value of annuity, PV, annuity PV represented as PVARN is A by R into 1 minus 1 plus R all raised to N. That is this equation we have to remember. A by R equal to 1 plus R all raised to N minus 1 by 1 plus R all raised to N. Where A is the annuity, R is the discount rate, and N is the number of period. Next is future value of annuity ARN, that is equal to A by R into 1 plus R all raised to N minus 1. So we can remember future value of annuity and present value of annuity very easily. In future value of annuity, this denominator is not there. Here A by R into 1 plus R all raised to N minus 1 is future value of annuity is divided by 1 plus R all raised to N. We get present value of annuity. Now annuity given the future value A in FVRN represented as A FVRN is future value into R by 1 plus R all raised to N minus 1. Balloon repayment. For example, our agri loan is a kind of balloon repayment. That is, this refers to a loan on which only interest is paid for the life of the loan and entire principal is paid at the end of the loan. That is balloon repayment. So we all have some sinking fund, but we don't know it is a sinking fund. A sinking fund is a fund to which firm makes annual contribution in order to have enough funds to meet a large fiscal financial liability. So we all know in our own case we have FD, RD, etc. So in case of any financial liability that we don't know may arise in future, we can use that fund as sinking fund. So annuity at BOP is also called as annuity due. So if we ask to find annuity due, we have to use the equation of annuity BOP. PV of BOP is A plus A by R into 1 minus 1 by R whole raised to N minus 1. Present value will be higher than the present value equivalent annuity at end of each period. So a beginning of period annuity is always greater than end of period annuity. Future value BOP, that is A by R into 1 plus R into 1 plus R all raised to N minus 1. Here this 1 plus R all raised to N minus 1 is multiplied here to get 1 plus R all raised to minus 1 by 1 plus R all raised to N. So if we look at this equation, a 1 plus R is multiplied at the left side and this denominator is not there to get future value. So by studying this equation, we will also get this equation. We have to remember this equation. Growing annuity. A growing annuity is a cash flow that grows at a constant rate for specified period of time. Here is not a constant cash flow. If a rupee 1 came at the end of a month or the beginning of a month, then again rupee 1 into 1 plus g whole square came at the next month, and g is some percentage. So it's a growing annuity at constant rate. So its equation is, it's also very easy to remember this growing annuity. A into 1 plus t by r minus t into 1 minus 1 plus t whole raised to n by 1 plus r whole raised to n. Here 1 plus t r minus g into 1 minus 1 plus t whole raised to n 1 plus r whole raised to n. It's very important equation. Perpetuity. A perpetuity is a constant cash flow paid or received at regular intervals of time forever. So there is no end for perpetuity, whereas annuity, it may come to an end after the fourth cash flow, but for perpetuity it is up to the lifespan of someone. This cash flow is paid regularly. So equation of perpetuity is very easy. It's A by R, amount by rate of interest. A consoled bond is a bond that has no maturity and pays for a fixed. So a consoled bond is a perpetuity. A consoled bond, if someone buy a consoled bond, he will get a rate of interest for his lifetime. So assume that 6% coupon consoled bond, its face value is rupees 1000. Current value of bond, the interest rate is 9%. So current value consoled bond is 60 by 0.09 is 667 rupees. Growing perpetuity. If present value of perpetuity is growing, its equation is C1 by R minus G, or C1 equal to A into 1 plus G. That is the exact equation is perpetuity. Growing perpetuity is A into 1 plus G by R minus G. Sinking fund, pension fund, insurance premium are examples of annuity. Sinking fund is very important. It's also already asked in the exam. Rate of return is profit by investment. Accept investments that offer higher rates of return in excess of opportunity cost. Rates of return in excess of opportunity cost. Dividing 72 by the discount rate or interest rate gives money doubling time. It's a very important. We all know dividing 72 by the rate, interest rate or discount rate, will get doubling time. So that's all friends from this chapter. If you find this video helpful, please share and subscribe and like this video, and this will motivate me for making more videos like this. Thank you.